quick way to throw together, what was supposed to be a much more complicated meal. And you can see that little dude behind there in the stand, like making the sushi with his fingers. That was samurai would go eat it on their way home from work. It was like the McDonald's drive-thru of old Tokyo. That's what sushi was. It was a street food, a snack. So, very surprising history. I did not know any of this when I started researching the book. Now, there's a gazillion other cool things I talk about in the sushi book. The sex life of seaweed. Don't even get me started on that. I don't have videos, unfortunately. They're not quite as, dramatic as lobsters. But, sea urchins and the octopus. To prepare an octopus, a traditional sushi chef will buy a live octopus and he'll give it a 45-minute full-body massage to loosen up its muscles before he kills it, cooks it, and then makes it into sushi. They're very serious about this stuff. What I will focus on with sushi is one particular fish, because I want to say something about it. And I'll introduce this by bringing you to the fish market in Tokyo, which is huge. Some of you may have been there and seen it. It's the size of 40 football fields. It's the most insane place I have ever been in my life. It's spread out across, all this space and under these cavernous low ceilings with dangling light bulbs and these tiny little alleyways and all these guys shouting everywhere and all these live, sea creatures running around practically. And the center of it all is where they sell the huge tuna fish. So let's talk about tuna. They have this central tuna auction. They have these deep frozen with liquid nitrogen to like negative 70 degrees. And they bring them out and they're all smoking like these alien pods. And then they have fresh ones too. And they bid on these fish and then buy them. And then they take the deep frozen ones and they cut them up with these huge hacksaws. And the fresh ones they slice with these huge samurai sword things. So I had been to that fish market, seen all this, and I describe it in more detail in the book. It's just amazing. And then I was able to connect that to what these students were doing back in L.A. in their classroom, learning to cut up these hunks of tuna. So you see the whole circle of what this tuna goes through between getting caught to ending up as sushi and learning all the different parts of the tuna fish's anatomy and the muscles and the flesh and the science of it. It's an amazing fish. They can swim 55 miles an hour in bursts. They hunt in packs like wolves. They're one of the very few warm-blooded fish that's out there. They have this incredible system for keeping themselves warm underwater in a very cold situation. And of course, it's considered one of the great luxuries and delicacies of sushi. However, I learned a few weird things about this tuna fish. We're catching so many of them and eating so many of them that they're now endangered. In many places, we're running out of these big, beautiful bluefin tuna fish because of the sushi trade. And let me try to put it this way, explain what it's like to eat this isn't all tuna. There's different kinds of tuna, but bluefin tuna is considered, the most amazing piece of sushi you can have. However, is it really worth it? Because it's really the equivalent now, because they're endangered. Eating bluefin tuna sushi is really the equivalent of having a hamburger made out of like tiger meat or something, which we would not do anymore. So it's worth thinking twice about this. And the other thing I learned is that actually, believe it or not, even though most of us assume tuna is like the standard sushi fish, it's not at all. I looked into the history of it. The Japanese considered tuna a garbage fish that they wouldn't even use for sushi at all. There's all this other stuff that they prefer to eat that is much more traditional sushi toppings. And happily, a lot of these other things, some of them quite weird looking and kind of cool to eat if you're adventurous, are really delicious, really tasty, and they're not endangered or overfished like bluefin tuna. Weirdly, the reason Japanese people started eating these bluefin tuna is because after World War II, they started eating a diet more like a Western diet. So they started eating more red meat and fattier foods, and that's where you get the bluefin tuna from.